Baghdad, the jewel of the world, where the river Tigris carried the whispers of poets and the minarets touched the dawn with prayer. In that city of calligraphy and candles lived a man named Murat, a young craftsman known for his skill in engraving Quranic verses upon glass and brass. His hands were steady, his eyes filled with quiet dreams. Yet beneath his calm exterior burned a longing he could not name. Across the market street lived Elif, a woman whose laughter sounded like the ringing of silver anklets. She wove silk scarves that shimmered like morning dew. Every soul in the neighborhood knew her for her grace and kindness. One ordinary afternoon, under the archways of the bazaar, destiny played its silent melody. Murat passed by Elif's stall, and their eyes met just once. A single moment, yet it was enough for a spark to find kindling. He greeted her, shyly at first, and she returned the greeting with a smile that lingered longer than it should have. What began as simple words grew into secret exchanges. They spoke about art, dreams, the loneliness of hearts. Every meeting made their pulse race faster, and soon, they began to meet when no one was watching. Baghdad's nights were painted with lanterns and soft winds, and under those skies, their hearts started to forget their limits. What they called affection was, in truth, a slow descent, a quiet rebellion against conscience. Days melted into weeks. Murat's faith dimmed like a fading lantern, and Elif's laughter lost its light, yet their hearts clung to the chain of desire. Until one night, when sleep took Murat by surprise. In his dream, the earth beneath him split open. He stood in a vast wasteland under a blood-red sky. From afar, he heard the wailing of souls, a sound so sorrowful it pierced the heavens. Then two angels, radiant and awe-inspiring, appeared before him. One said, "Come, Murat, there is something you must see." Flames of fire were rising from beneath them. They screamed and cried in pain. One of the angels said, "The prophet said, 2 men came to me in a dream and said, 'The people you saw in a pit, like an oven, from which cries were coming out, those were adulterers and adulteresses.'" Murat's knees buckled. He saw faces, twisted in agony, pleading for mercy that would not come. And among them, to his horror, he saw Elif. Her eyes met his, filled with pain and regret. "Murat," she cried, "we burned our faith for a moment's warmth." The angels looked at him and said, "This is not yet your end, but this is your warning." Murat burst from his sleep as if escaping the blaze itself. Sweat drenched his face, his heart thundered in his chest. The air of dawn seeped through his window, cold, pure, forgiving. Without delay, he rushed to the mosque. His footsteps echoed on the cobblestones of Baghdad like a confession. He entered the courtyard, fell to the ground, and wept. Tears fell like rain from a storm sky. "O Allah," he whispered, "I was blind. You showed me the fire. Now show me the way back to your mercy." When the morning light rose, Murat went to Elif's house. Her face was pale, her eyes swollen. Before he could speak, she said, trembling, "I saw the same dream, Murat. The pit, the fire, the screams, I saw it all." They stood in silence. The world around them felt suspended between guilt and redemption. Finally, Murat said, "Perhaps this is Allah's mercy, to frighten us before it's too late." From that day forward, their paths changed. Murat left his craft for a while and dedicated himself to helping the poor, engraving verses on water jugs distributed to the needy. Each jug bore the words, "Allah forgives all sins, for He is most merciful." Elif stopped weaving silk and began teaching orphan girls to recite Quran. When they asked her why she had left her art, she would smile gently and say, "Because some beauty leads to darkness, and some wounds teach us light." Years passed. The story of Murat and Elif spread through Baghdad, not as a tale of forbidden love, but as a parable of repentance. People spoke of how they had seen the fire and turned back before it consumed them. As winter wrapped Baghdad in silence, Murat sat beside the Tigris, letting his final words flow like the river, gentle, endless, and full of sorrow. The fire of desire is sweet for a moment, but the fire of regret burns for eternity. Blessed is the one whom Allah wakes before the flame. He placed down his pen, gazed at the fading light, and whispered, "O Lord, you turned my fire into faith." And as the sun dipped beyond Baghdad's skyline, the wind carried his words, a warning, a prayer, and a promise, to every heart that still trembled between sin and mercy.